T minus 1 minute. T minus 50 seconds. T minus 40 seconds. T minus 30 seconds. T minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Rock the world, rock the world. With me, no worries, come with me. No worries, just come with me. No worries, just come with me.
Yeah, what up, what up, what up, what's up, as Martin Lawrence used to say. Welcome to the King and Me live stream.
We live up in the street.
We
Hey.
live up in this thing.
Hey.
Hey, live up in this thing.
Hey.
Hey, I'm King,
Hey y'all, I'm me, Michelle. How y'all doing?
and the King and Me show is a live stream produced by both of us.
Yes, I got promoted, y'all.
got
I got
promoted.
promoted. What's my new position here?
Oh no,
Because on your stream, I'm associate producer. So what am I here? What's my title here?
here
I be getting promotions and don't even know.
co-owner, fine co-owner.
Oh, okay. I like your titles. Hey, I just work for titles, y'all. That's it. That's it.
So for those of y'all that don't know, The King and Me is a live stream where Michelle and I, who are a new-ish couple, yes, I
Lord,
said it,
here we go with the newish.
we come on and we talk about all things dating and relationships as it involves us and just our observations of stuff in general. So this is live. We do see the comments. Shout out to Free T up
Free
in
tea
the
up
building.
in the building. Hey, sis.
Said, what up, what up, what up? We've done some things visually
Yeah.
that's a little bit different.
So we getting used to it and everything.
Yeah, so shout outs to John and Nicole over than the Better Than Perfect podcast,
Yes.
over at the Better Than Perfect podcast. If you're on the social media streets, please go check them out. They do relationship podcast topics as well. They're not live, but they're really cool
awesome.
couple. They're awesome. So our visuals today is a little bit of some suggestions that they gave us. So we hope y'all like it. We hope it's actually looking and giving what it needs
To give.
to give. Before we get into it, if there's a like button on the platform that you're watching this on, do us a favor. Hit that like button. All right? We're streaming multiple... Hold on. Let me start that over. We are streaming on multiple platforms. Facebook, YouTube, and X.
Are we just on ours or are we on Perry Production too?
We're not on Perry Production.
We're
I'm
not on
slipping.
Perry Production?
I'm slipping.
Oh, no.
Hey, but I can fix that real quick.
All right, go ahead. Fix that real quick.
While I fix that real quick,
I'm going to talk to y'all real quick, okay?
yeah,
So-
talk to him, baby.
So, y'all, as you were looking from whatever screen you were looking at, you probably...
Mhm.
Dang it, that was my phone. You probably noticed that I am in a beautiful wine-colored top, okay? Peep it, look it, like lace and everything. My man's bought this for me, okay? So one of the topics that we talked about in the conversation that we had with John and Nicole was we talked about, how things would set up in our screen, and King and I wanted to take some pictures and do some things. So I had on a shirt on Saturday. We were going to take all these pictures and everything. And I got in the car, and I don't know if my face said that, I wasn't 100% thrilled, and King wasn't 100% thrilled with what he had. So we went over to the mall, and we walked into one store, and I saw 2 shirts, and I went and I tried them on, and I showed them to King, and King was like, I like them. So one of the shirts we took the pictures in, and then this is the other shirt. And y'all, let me tell you, I got compliments from students today. I got compliments from staff. I got students out here saying, Miss Early, you looking real bougie today. I was like, I know, boo, but I'm going to be in leggings tomorrow. Don't you worry about it. So this is a nice top that King bought. And I'm going to be very honest. I'm going to say it here on these streets.
Mm-hmm.
I feel sexy today, okay?
I'm gonna tell you a secret.
I feel sexy. Tell me, baby.
I ain't buy that for you. When you tried on the first two shirts, I was like, yes to the first one, which was that one, and then absolutely yes to that second one. And then there was one that you and I both didn't necessarily feel because of some reasons.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was for me. Shout out to Tarika. Tarika's in the building. Said, beautiful queen. Hey, Tarika. Glad you could pop in. It's always good to see you.
So right before we went live, King and I took some pictures of me, and I just went ahead and threw it in a little reel and posted it on my socials. So go check it out. I had a nice quick little photo shoot. So I just want to publicly say my love. Thank you.
Of course, you're welcome. Again,
you did good.
Didn't do it for you.
And look, it just so happens I have matching shoes. Like, it's a little bit off because they're just like a little bit more purple, but you can't even tell, baby.
It looks good on you.
Thank you, baby. You look good on me.
Ooh, you just said that on the air.
They probably ain't here. You know, sometimes I'll be whispering and the mics don't be picking up everything.
No doubt, no doubt. Today's topic is I fell in love with
a stripper. Ooh.
Blank.
Oh, my bad. Mm-hmm.
I'm in love with a stripper. And when we came up with today's topic, we were like, ooh, there's a lot of different ways that we could go with this.
Yeah.
So when y'all hear I fell in love with Blank, where do y'all think that we're going to go with this? Because it might not be where you think we're going to go with it.
Yeah, and then also, if you have time, go ahead and put in the chat box your type. Like, what is your type? Who did you fall in love with? What does love look like to you? All that good stuff.
Like Brown Sugar when she said, I fell in love with hip hop. It's like, I fell in love with hip hop.
Yes.
But hip hop was a euphemism for, what was his name in the movie? I forget, because it's been a while.
Omar Epps character. We'll just say that.
All right. Well, while we're waiting for people to do that, you know we read these cards, y'all, from this right here.
Yes,
Let's get deep.
Let's get deep.
Questions for couples. And there's an icebreaker, a deep, and a deeper. And Michelle's going to start out by reading the icebreaker. Boom. Uh-oh.
What was your most memorable birthday gift or surprise?
Oh, okay. This is way too easy. Way too easy, y'all. Growing up, I didn't really get gifts or have birthday parties. Family wasn't really about that kind of life, all right? So in my adult life, I really didn't get birthday gifts or anything either. I ain't tripping about it. Whatever. Last year, for my 39th birthday.
Father's Day.
Father's Day?
Father's Day.
So that was a birthday question?
This was a birthday. It said birthday gift or surprise. But you can still say
it. Does it have to be birthday related?
We can skip birthday. We'll remove the word birthday. So what was your best gift or surprise?
I don't have it on me right now. But my lady got me an Apple AirTag. And she customized it with my initial and a gaming controller as well, because I'm a gamer. And it was from my wallet because I'm always losing that thing. And you can easily look up Find My, and it is really accurate, y'all. So that has been not only the best gift that anybody has ever gotten me in my lifetime, as far as back as I can think, it's also been the most valuable one because it has brought value to me. And that's my theme for 2024 and beyond. Value. Are you somebody that brings value to me, or are you somebody that extracts resources? And if you're an extractor of resources, you might not be around for that long in my life. So that's been the most memorable gift that you've ever gotten me, or anybody's ever gotten me.
Aww.
How about you?
Okay, so I'm going to be honest. My most memorable gift, I don't know if it has like a positive memory, but I'll share it anyway. I I don't know if anyone knows this or not, but I'm a low-key perfectionist. Low-key, right? And for when I finally made the decision to go out and get my driver's license, I mapped out everything perfectly. So I did a PowerPoint presentation to my mom and my sister because I'm the youngest and my sister's 12 years older than me. So when I was 16, my sister was 28 and my mom was going to need help paying for certain things. So I would make PowerPoint presentations to convince my family to do things for me. I made a PowerPoint presentation on driver's school because I needed to go to driver's ed in order to get my driver's license. So I did PowerPoint presentations comparing the top 3 companies, and there was a company that was having a promotion, and it was the cheapest company by 5 cents. So I did that PowerPoint presentation, got them to pay for the school. I went and I took my permit test. I passed my permit test the first time with a 100%. I went to driver's ed. I did everything by the book. If I was driving for 15 minutes, I recorded it in the book for 15 minutes and made sure I got all my hours. Like, I was meticulous on that, okay? Did everything by the book. I waited because at the time, I think you had to do 60 hours in 3 months. I held my permit for 3 months. So I got my permit on it must have been 5. I got it on May the 15th or May 17th, something like that. 3 months later, exactly, I made an appointment to go take my driver's license test. I had just put a stick of Winterfresh gum in my mouth. I got behind the wheel of that Volkswagen Golf, and I was ready to take my driver's test, and I failed that sucker, okay? The whole time I was driving, I didn't chew the gum, so the gum is just deteriorating in my mouth. I failed that test. And I should add that I took this test 2 weeks before my 17th birthday. So here I am, devastated that I failed this test. And my family, the only way that they could console me, because, like, I'm crying. You have this unchewed Winterfresh gum that's just, like, falling out of my mouth and, like, little crumbles. And my family had to tell me what they were getting me for my 17th birthday, which was tickets to the Scream Tour. So that was the greatest gift that I ever got because I was devastated. Like, failure wasn't a part of my vocabulary, and I failed that test. So they had to tell me in that moment what they were getting me for my birthday so that I would stop crying.
Okay. Nice. That's interesting.
You weren't expecting that, no.
Not that, and I've heard that story before, but I wasn't expecting that to be your answer for today. Before we read the next one, Tarika said, I received my card game today. Hey, good for you.
Yes.
We recommend, like, they're not sponsoring us or anything like that. We just, yet. We
the power of yet.
Like that a lot of the stuff that gets asked in here, it facilitates things, whether you're a new couple, whether it's date number 1 and you just want to bring something interesting instead of kind of like the interview style things that I cringe when people go out on dates with. I think you should learn about the person, right? But it shouldn't be like an interview. It should try and be as informal as it can be. So what is your credit score? Things like that. But having these questions, I think, can help bring some fun to a date or just getting to know somebody. We do have a link to this game in the description. Buy it using our link.
Yes,
it helps us out.
Thank you.
She said, I'm single and I hope I can use them.
You definitely can. Yeah, you can.
You can. And even, I'll say this, reading the questions yourself, it can help kind of maybe drive or generate some thoughts or things that you may not think about on the regular, because unless you talk to yourself, you really...
First of all, there's nothing wrong with talking to yourself. I just want to put that.
In certain cases, yes.
It's when you respond to yourself, there's like a problem.
Hey, like when Quentin Williams sneezed and then said bless you and thank you all at the same time. I might have to, I got to find that clip and cut that in there because that's hilarious. He sneezed and said bless you, thank you, and then continue with the interview. Funniest thing ever.
All right, so you ready for the next one? D. What do you absolutely hate doing and why?
Oh man. Well, I can't say that. I have to say the second thing.
Snap! Now I want to know the first thing.
Oh, well, if I say the first thing, it's just gonna be that, and then you gotta answer it. I hate going to the restroom.
I absolutely hate grading. I'm gonna be honest. I got a compliment today from one of my colleagues on grading, and I hate it. I hate grading. It's like my least favorite part about being a teacher.
Well, how do you know that the person know what you need them to know if you don't grade?
It's not that. It's just I feel like you can assess in other ways, which is something that many school districts are trying to get to, where when you grade, it's not so much that you're grading to give a grade, but that you are assessing the student and what they're able to do. And you can assess in many ways. I can assess your knowledge or acquired knowledge just based off of a conversation. Like I can talk to you and figure out if you've acquired what I needed you to get for the course of that day. But as teachers, we have to give assignments. Contractually in our district, we are obligated to have at least one graded assignment every week. So it doesn't matter how else I plan on assessing the student, I do have to assign an assignment and grade it at least once a week for every course.
Ew.
Yeah, and I hate grading.
I would too.
Yeah.
Have you heard about these Stanley Cups?
I have heard about these Stanley Cups. Look, baby, as a business teacher, I'm looking at it like, that's content for my classroom.
Interesting.
But as a person, I'm like, y'all must be out of your ever-loving minds. Ever-loving.
You know, people get things and it just goes viral and go crazy. And the person who benefits is the subject of the viral nature of it all. Congrats to them. And I hope that their profit margins this year are fantastic and that somehow that money makes its way to me, even though I have nothing to
Look, that's
do
what I'm saying. I'm like, you want me to endorse you? I will, because like every student in my school has a Stanley Cup. So I'm about that life. I will help you. Never mind the Yeti that's in that. Never mind that Yeti, but Stanley Cup. If you need a good person to endorse you, I got you, boo. Teachers got you.
What's our deeper question?
What is something embarrassing you do when no one is home?
What is something that I do embarrassing when no one is at home?
I have something. I don't think it's embarrassing. It just is what it is.
Share yours.
I like to walk around naked. I absolutely love being in the flesh that I was created in.
Your birthday suit?
My birthday suit. Because it's my birthday. No, but I love doing that. I feel it's something natural. We're going all the way back to like Adam and Eve time. I love walking around naked. And when I'm naked, I like to dance because I like music. So I like walking around naked and dancing in the house when no one else is around. Like this brings me joy. So when we move in together,
hey, sign me up.
All the way up. Like I thoroughly enjoy it.
You said this publicly, so I'm gonna hold you to it. Deal.
I have no problem with it. Like I love it. What you gotta work on is me closing the blinds and stuff like that when I do it. But other than that, like we're good. We're good.
I don't have an answer to that because I don't do anything embarrassing privately that I wouldn't do publicly.
Are you sure?
I mean, besides, like, okay, the controlling of how loud I might pass gas. If I'm public, I might, try to make sure I can get a silent one in there. In private, I'm letting loose.
Okay, well then that's something.
It's about to be a whole V12 sounding engine when it's private. A whole airplane taking off type vibration might be going on in private, but in public, I try not to give all of that. And really, it's more not me being embarrassed by it. It's just for the sake of others.
I promise you, I can never smell it. Like, never.
Tarika laughed.
I wonder was she laughing at me or you, because both of us are absolutely silly in this case.
Yep, so that is our questions for our icebreaker, deep and deeper question. We love reading what y'all have to say. So if you're catching this on the live, let us know what your answers would be to some of these questions that we have.
Yeah.
Or if you're catching this on the replay, put it down in the comment section. We do read them.
We do read them. We definitely do.
Now, Michelle.
Ooh, now King.
Today's topic could be a little bit deep.
It could be.
I'm just going to warn you about that now.
Yeah.
But before we get into it, why are everybody trying to marry us off?
I mean, why not?
There's a whole slew of reasons as to why not.
I mean, I know, but still, like, for them, why not?
Yeah.
They got nothing else to do.
Yeah. Also, they don't have any vested interest in it whatsoever.
They want pictures. I'm a photographer. I take pictures. I post everything. And thanks to Free T, we post every week and like we give y'all content. They want more content and they feel they'd get more content if we were married.
No. People would care less if we were married. That's the thing about it.
No, they want us to travel. They want us to get married and they want us to travel and they want to be able to live vicariously through us.
And we can travel without marriage.
We could, but it's cuter with a ring on both of our fingers.
Okay. Speaking of things that can go on stuff.
All right, y'all. King told me he had a surprise. Oh, okay. He had a surprise for me.
Not necessarily for you.
Oh, my bad. Sorry. He has a surprise.
Don't be holding out your hand like that, like I'm about to put something on it.
You're not going to put anything on it.
Because I'm not.
I know.
Boom! She said something about, is what your surprise going to be around a size whatever?
7.
And I started looking up hat sizes. Because this is about the size 7 hat that will go on a head. But yes, y'all, I got me a crown. Hey, y'all, how my crown look? Hey, babe, how my crown look?
You look good, baby.
I'm going to have to wear this crown during certain time periods.
Do what you got to do, my love. Do what you got to do.
Yes. Oh, these toboggans. This is a product.
It's not a toboggan.
Toboggan. Hey, what y'all call these?
What I just dropped?
Scullies. Don't worry about
It's a scully. It's a scully.
Toboggan.
So we got these from Amazon and bless their dear heart. I'm gonna have to get us different ones later on because I'm bougie about quality. I'm bougie about quality. I'll take
So
that.
yeah, I got a crown, y'all. Ooh, hey, you know what? Hey,
Ti.
I ought to rock it, Ti style. Know what I'm talking about? Hey,
Rubber band man.
Rubber
Why
band man. Hey, babe. All right, I can't wear this the entire episode. It
Oh
ain't
my
light.
gosh, it's not light.
It
This
ain't
is
light.
heavy.
Yes, it ain't light. So, yeah, not a ring.
Nah.
It was the right size, just not the size that you was thinking.
In case you ever needed to know, like on this end, it's like a 6.5, probably 6 3/4.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying, just throwing that out there.
Okay.
On this end, it's a 7.
Mm-hmm.
In case we ever need to know for some random reason.
I've heard everything you just said.
I'm just saying, the people definitely. It's about. You know what? I ain't asking nobody from Alabama.
Yes.
She's from Alabama.
Thank you, Free T.
She is from Alabama.
Thank you.
She is from Alabama.
Toboggan.
Alabama.
I wish. Hey, we need somebody who could produce in the back that could put up a poll and have the people vote live.
Alabama.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
All right. Enough with the shenanigans. Our topic today is I fell in love with blank.
Mm-hmm.
And when we were talking about this was introduced by you. And at first I was kind of like, I don't understand it. So I had asked you to explain a little bit more. Do you remember what you said in the more explanation? Judging by your face, that's all right. That's fine.
Baby, I barely remember what I said like 20 minutes ago.
Squirrel.
Yes.
So today's topic, we felt as though to understand what you like, how things are viewed in your present, it's important to understand the decisions and types of things that you thought that you liked or things that you liked from the past.
Mm-hmm.
So Michelle and I thought that it was a good idea to explore our past decisions and thought processes so that we can understand how it shapes and affects our future. For example, right? I was prior married. Michelle has never been married. I'm saying this because if you're new to watching this, you might not know that. Well, being that I have been married once before, I'm not high on marriage again. It is not that I'm saying I will never do it. Apparently, people have said that they've heard me say the word never.
Because even
And I'm like, prove it. I do a lot of live streams. I don't think you can ever catch me say never. I always say it is highly unlikely, right? But my past has shaped my present thoughts on the subject. And Michelle has never been married,
nope.
but you
my
have
knowledge.
been engaged,
Yes.
right? So have been engaged. And obviously that didn't work out or whatnot. But it
Praise God, hallelujah.
But-
About to make me have to shout in this place.
but that certainly has an effect on your thoughts and your present and kind of how things are flowing as well. And then our dynamics too, just of how we both view it coming into our own relationship. So if we can be hot, honest, open, and transparent, shout out to the real precious. Let's do it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about things that we fell in love with in the past, and maybe that can help us and people out there understand what shapes their present and kind of how it guides their future.
Okay, so before we get started, I just want to give kind of a trigger warning to people or sensitivity alert, because with us being hot today, honest, open, and transparent, we, specifically me, I have a lot of elements of my past that a lot of people may not know about, and B, they contribute greatly to who I am today. I am not shy about anything that has happened in my life. I am very, very open about it. So I just want you to know, obviously we're going to be changing some of the words because YouTube doesn't like to hear certain words in their streams. So we'll modify a couple of the words, but go along with us, please. Comment, let us know how you're feeling. That's one of the benefits of us having a live stream. We're able to see your comments and respond to it immediately. So as you're watching, if you have any thoughts, any feedback, please, because we're sharing this, we're doing all of this so that it can help you in some way, and it can help us, because I'm a firm believer that as we share our testimonies, we continue to be set free and released from things that we've endured. So come along on this journey.
Let's get started.
Let's get started, babe.
Growing up, when you started to understand things that you like, do you think that you had a type, or did other people perceive you as having a type?
I did have a type. So my type for me was, one, I liked older guys, which is really, really weird, but I preferred to have older guys, and I liked guys that were the opposite of my brother. So I liked them older, yes, but I had a type. I liked light-skinned men. Yes,
You
I
did?
said light-skinned. Mm-hmm.
Light-skinned? So I had a type as well, and it's important to note that growing up, I was in a very diverse environment with my father being in the Army, and even when he got out, it was still a diverse environment because he got out in a town that was a military town. Shout out to Anniston, Alabama up in this thing.
Now y'all say toboggans. So.
Haters abound. So, so I had always saw a lot of diversity in my peers and my age group. I had a thing for Hispanic.
Mamacita.
And I always did. So, like, thinking back, like, in third grade, right? I think that was the first time that, like, I liked a girl that I could think back to anyway. And it was a little Hispanic, lady. And, that was my third grade girlfriend,
That was your boo thing. Okay.
And then you get up around to middle school, and that's when things were a little bit different for me. But for me, it was skin color had an effect on me as well. Not saying that I excluded darker women, but growing up, I didn't really mess with ladies,
chocolatey
young women
hue.
that
That
were
is me. Yeah.
around your skin complexion. There were only two that I can name, and they watch our show. At least I know one of them does.
Can I shout out? No.
I don't think she mind.
Hey, Whitney. Hey, sis.
So for me, looks were important. It was more about the hair too. I also liked long hair.
Oh,
If you had medium to really short hair, I really wasn't checking for you like that. Not for real anyway. And back then, I don't know how wigs and extensions and things were growing up, but back then, uh, and long hair was definitely something that stood out for me. So I had a type.
yeah.
And what would catch me with anybody who I gravitated towards was typically like that long hair. What did Free T say? She said, "It's okay, King. You saw the light. LOL. Dark skinned women unite."
Also, shout out to Pete, the Greek Pete, for being in the building. Thank you so much for popping in. But yes, Freezy, he saw that light. Yes, yes, yes.
Yo, what's up, Pete? I see you over here on Facebook, man. I appreciate you tuning
What
in,
did
brother.
Tupac say?
The blacker the berry.
The sweeter the juice.
Hey.
Just saying, just saying.
So, as I was growing up too, I was never like a player type dude. I would see my peers and people juggling and out here just doing whatever. And this was before smartphones and social media and everything like that. I never had the energy for that, but also religion was a factor as well.
Okay.
And I grew up in a household and under a religion that, it wasn't about being with as many as people and everything like that. It was about, hey, being with somebody, focusing on the one person and doing something under the covenant of that, not out here skeeting, and skeeting, like some of my other peers were doing. So that's my youth, right? And because sexual nature is a part of, that type of stuff as well. I'll also add, I didn't really have any males or anybody tell me how to kind of maneuver things. My mom, shout out to Cece, she watches and comments as well.
Hey.
Let me know if you remember what you said.
Is she on?
She might be, but what she said was, don't be bringing no pregnant people around my house. And don't be making me a grandma. That's really all she
Which
said
is funny.
about the birds and the bees talk,
Mm-hmm.
So as I'm like looking and trying to find what works for me, that was kind of like my type. It was, all right, who likes me? And do I like them?
And see, for me, I grew up in a single parent household. My mom raised us by herself. It's no secret, but all five of us have a different father. And my four siblings were all born in Jamaica, and I was the only person born in America. So for me, I have all these older siblings, which is how I gravitated towards people who were older than me, because my siblings are so significantly older than me. I have four siblings on my mom's side and one on my dad's side. And all of them, except for one, has double-digit age gap on me. So there's someone 16 years older than me, 14, 12. There's someone who's 13 years older than me. And then I have one brother who is 7 years older than me. It's a big gap. So and I had to mature up in order to hang around people, my siblings. So I had to act older. I had to be older. That's why I liked older people. And then as far as light-skinned men, the people in my family were darker complexion. And because of the things that happened to me in my youth, I wanted someone who did not look like my family. I also told you I don't date Jamaican men. I'm going to need y'all to fill in the gap of what I'm intentionally being vague about here. But I had a traumatic experience that came at the hands of my older Jamaican brother who is dark skinned. So for me, I did not want to be with someone who reminded me of my brother. So I did not date dark-skinned men. I did not date dark-skinned men with a beard. I did not date Jamaican men because for me, I related all of that to my brother and to what happened there. And I wanted absolutely no parts of that. So I know that there was an episode many, many weeks ago where I said I don't date Jamaican men, and I kind of just like laughed it off, and someone was very rude in the comments. But you don't understand. I was literally traumatized from ages 6 to 8, so I avoided that type of person. And I gravitated towards someone who I had a body type, like I preferred the skinnier build, light skin, and just older than me. Even if you were just like a couple weeks older than me was older than me. I didn't really care. I was like, oh, well, hey, you're not my age. You're just a little bit older. So that's what I liked when I was growing up. And I honestly didn't veer out of that until probably after I was 25 and still single.
Okay. Now, because of the trauma that happened to you when you were really, really young, you've gotten help and therapy and stuff working through that. Were you ever nervous about, like, to set the tone, I'll say 18, so 18 and above, people finding out about it and not liking you because of it?
I was very much afraid. I'm going to be honest, it wasn't even just 18 and old. I was afraid of people finding out in general and making jokes. Because I grew up in Baltimore. Like, we laughed at everything. Like, we laughed at poverty. Like, we laughed at somebody's hardships. Like, you could tell somebody was financially in disrepair and you would still laugh at it because we were kids in Baltimore. Like, we laughed at everything. And I didn't want people to judge me, to make fun of me, to condemn me for something that they didn't understand. And worse off than someone laughing at me, I did not want people's pity. So I didn't tell people what happened to me because I'm like, you're going to pity me, and I'd rather you laugh at me before you pity me. I didn't want that.
Now, taking that off the table, I have another question, and it was brought on by something that you said.
Okay.
You said that you lean towards people that were a little bit older. My two eyes have always told me that young girls who hang around older people also tend to be a lot more fast, is what they say in the South.
Baby, what? We being honest here, right? Oh, yeah. I was a little fast. But in my defense, typically women who have been through what I have been through, we do mature faster, number one.
Mm-hmm.
We mature faster, so someone our age is not going to cut it. But B, we do turn out to be hypersexual. We're either hypersexual or hyposexual.
What's the difference, man?
So hyper means like overactive. Like we want that type of stuff more often than the average person versus hypo where you don't want it at all type thing. So that's kind of where you found people who were in similar situations as me. They either like they're go, go, go. They want it all the time or they don't want it at all. They're completely turned off by it. I definitely gravitated more towards the hyper. And I'm like, yeah, I was a little bit fast.
And did people that you got with, did they necessarily know that?
No, because one of the ways that I hid it is even though I had those thoughts, open, honest, and transparent, I engaged in sexual activity with someone my freshman year of high school. And my rationale, growing up Christian, I always believed that I was going to get pregnant because my mom got pregnant young. Like my mom had her first child at 16. I believed that I was going to get pregnant young. So that one time that I had sex when I was a freshman in high school, it freaked me out so badly. I never had sex again until I was like a freshman in college or something like that, because I was just so terrified. That doesn't mean I didn't do things. That just means I didn't have sex. And for me, I was able to put that aside.
Now, I'm going to kind of keep the attention over here for a second before bringing it back to me, because this next question is really relevant to a lot of things. You've journaled, you've talked about, you've written about a lot of this on your website, God Happened to Me. Now, as a 30-something-year-old now.
37. I'm
That's
proud of my age.
37. I wasn't hesitant in saying it because I know we've talked about it. But as a 37-year-old woman now, when you and I met,
Mm-hmm.
I had read a lot about what you had posted already.
Oh, yeah. You read all of my 400 some odd blogs.
Were you ever nervous about anything?
At the time when I met you, I did not know at the time that you had read all of my content. Like, all of my content. Ladies, when I tell you, when King met me, I had been posting a blog a week, every week, for several years. So we're talking about there 52 weeks in a year. I had several hundred blogs. King had read through all of my blogs before he met me. And this was even when he was like, no, I'm not interested in dating, all that stuff. He had read all of my blogs, which spoke volumes to me. I even ended up writing a blog about that August of 22. I wrote a blog about how you had read through all my content and how important, how special that was to me. Excuse me. I didn't know that at the time when I met you. I am always nervous to tell a guy about that. And the only reason I'm not holding your hand is because my hands are freezing cold.
I had stopped you before.
I know, but I was like, it's going to be really awkward because I'm struggling a little bit. Yeah.
Got you.
So I was nervous to tell you because I didn't want you to leave. Like, for some guys, that's a lot.
For most.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say some. I say for most, it is a lot. And after you finish, I'm going to tell you what my thoughts were.
It's a lot when that has happened to a woman in general. It's a lot when the woman knows her attacker. And it's a lot, especially in my situation, when it was a family member.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that can be overwhelming for some people, which is why, to be perfectly honest, it's something I lead with. That's within the first week of me knowing someone conversation. And I know that's really, really early to tell someone something like that.
But has it been shaped by something in the past?
So first of all, I don't think I told people when I was in my early 20s, like before I started my website and everything like that in my ministry. I don't think I led with that. I think it was something that I told people later or probably didn't tell them at all. What it was shaped by was a point of healing. I came to a point of healing and forgiveness, and I'm like, I have to let that go. And I guess I kind of need to get rid of the people who aren't meant to be in my life. And if me telling you that causes you to leave my life, then okay. I'd rather you leave sooner rather than later.
Okay. Now, while you take a look, because there's something that Free Ty said that I'd like to get you to read out loud.
Okay, you can. Okay.
When I read everything and saw everything, it was something that I had to kind of like, I read it and I was like, okay, what's more? Like, what's more? What's the background, which you talked about the more and the background. And then I had to ask myself, well, where is she at now?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Having dated after my divorce, I met and just, I'm stuttering a little bit because I should just be straight up. After my divorce, when I was meeting people and different things like that, I met all different characters, right? And it was my observation that not just me, because I had to take myself off the dating marketplace to really work on myself. And I'm thankful for that.
Yeah.
Because if I didn't, I believe that what I read with what you had would have had me go, I can't do this.
Yeah.
And that takes me knowing who I am and having an understanding just about different things as well. And the thing that was important for me is I know what happened to you because you talked about it. When I asked you about it, you were very open about the questions that I had at that time. And I felt like, okay, she's not hiding, ashamed, or anything about this. And she's, telling me. So I can trust that you've healed and worked through that. Had I got any semblance where I felt as though you hadn't been healed or that there were some things that were there that may not necessarily have been worked through, by my definitions anyway,
Yeah.
I would have been like, Scooby-Doo, I'm out.
So it's something there. I look at it as there are at least 3 different phases in that. Never mind the grieving process, because that literally, we're on the 30-year mark of when I was finally able to say something. So quick math at home, y'all. I'm 37. I'll be 38, Lord willing, in September, and we're on the 30-year mark of me vocalizing and finally coming out, so that what was happening to me could stop happening to me. I said that 30 years ago. There was a 30-year grieving process. Like, we're just now coming into like the other side of that. But one of my line sisters, I remember when she was trying to correct me in this in love, I had a little static with her, because when I first started sharing my testimony, I said that I was a blank victim. And she had to work with me to help me understand that I was no longer a victim. A victim is something that something has happened to them. A survivor is someone who has come out of it. So you're a victim, and then a survivor is someone who has come out of it. And I'm at the point of thriving. I'm at the point where, yes, that happened to me in my life, and it was absolutely horrible. And Free C, thank you so much for saying that you're sorry that experience happened. And people may never, ever, ever understand this. But in a way, I am glad that I am on this side of it. I'm glad that it happened, because it changed me. I hate to think of what my life would have been like if that had not happened. And that's a whole testimony in and of itself. But I'm at the point now where I'm not a victim. I'm not a survivor. I'm a thriver. That happened to me, and it was absolutely horrible. The 2 worst years of my life. But I look at it like, if those were the 2 worst years, then no matter what else comes to me, if God's already brought me through that, then this is just a cakewalk. Anything else is just a cakewalk in my life. And that's where I am now, at this thriving point. So victim, survivor, thriver. I'm at the thriver point of my life. And that is what allows me to be able to be in a relationship now. Because when I was broken, I was attracted to broken people, where there was something wrong with them, something that even in my brokenness, I felt like I had to fix in some capacity. I'm not in that place anymore. I approach things from a place of healed and healing, because that's where I am. So I'm able to do that now, and I love that. That does allow me to be in a relationship with you. That does allow me to be a teacher, because I'm not coming in with all of my brokenness like I brought into previous occupations. I went in with all of my brokenness. And that's something that I know we're going to talk about very shortly. But yeah, I'm able to come from a place of healing. So I'm glad for it.
Good deal. Good deal. Now, there were a couple of comments before we turn the spotlight on me. So can you read some of those comments, please? And then I'll be in the spotlight, so to speak.
So one, I'm a kind of not piggyback, but highlight what Super C is saying. Super C must have hit pause and then like is catching up on the delay. So his comments that you see coming in is for stuff that we had said earlier before we got serious.
All right.
So some of the stuff that he said was like what embarrasses him. I do that when I'm alone and blinds open, and I knew Smith was going to talk about farting. He said, "You suck, Smith." Then he also said, "And when you got up, I was like, oh, he about to drop down to that knee when you got up to pick up the box." Of course.
Yes.
Zarika said that she doesn't like dreads, which I understand. Like, I'm going to be honest, before I got locks, I ain't really like... Well, no, I did like a man with hair. I like light-skinned men with hair. What? Oh, man. Whew. Oh, flashbacks to the immature period of my life. But we're over that. And then your Uncle Nate has popped in. Hey, Uncle Nate, how are you?
Hey, what
He
up,
said
Bob?
37, dag. I don't know if he's just realizing that I'm 37. I know I look good for my age. My students commented on that today. He was like, I thought you were 30. I was like, look, boo, let me tell you, black don't crack. Okay. That's these Jamaican genes flowing through me. And then specifically to get to Free T, she said, sorry that you had that experience. And then she said about the comment about women who date older men are fast. She said, not always true. I wasn't fast, lol. I always dated older guys since I was a teen and still didn't lose my virginity until I was 26. Props to you.
Yeah, not always true,
Not always true.
but a good
I was
bit.
in my case. And then your Uncle Nate, he said hi. Hi. So yeah, I think that is everything.
Okay, spotlight is on me, babe. Lead the discussion. What do you want to know about what I fell in love with?
So I personally, you've told me a lot about your history, your dating history, and how you ended up in your marriage. When you came out of it, and I know you've spoken about this in various capacities, when you came out of it, what was your mentality? What were you looking for? Were you looking for someone who was the complete opposite of your ex-wife? Were you looking for someone who was like your ex-wife plus the desire to be with you? Like, what were you looking for?
That's a good question.
That's what I do, baby.
That's a real good question. So coming out of my marriage, I was a bit jaded by the fact that what I thought that I had that was a good thing ended up being sour.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I was like, I don't want anything like the current version of what I think she is. I wanted the opposite. I wanted different. And what that meant specifically, oh man, we're going to talk about it. I wanted what I thought feminine should be.
Okay.
And what I thought feminine should be meant quiet, meek, listens before speaking, and yeah, so those were like the qualities that I was seeking coming out of my marriage when I'm like, all right, if I'm gonna get with somebody, this is what I'm gonna need for her to be like.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it stemmed from the fact that my opinion that when my relationship was close to the end, I lost the respect of my ex-wife. And in my opinion, when you lose the respect of somebody, you tend to talk reckless to that person. And I let a lot of things go that, in my opinion, looking back, I shouldn't have. Mm-hmm. Not saying anything, because I hate when people do that. I ain't going to say that. I had my things that I could have improved on and been better about myself. So don't take me as bashing her, because I'm not. I'm just stating to your question that from her, I was getting a lot of sass. So when I was coming out and looking in these streets, as people say, I wanted less sass. I wanted actually nothing to do with sass. If I caught an inkling of sass, I was literally like, oh, I always thought you can only hide sass for so long, because that's what I thought about her. She's like, oh, you know what? Like, the sass is always there. You can just only hide it for so long. Mm-hmm. So if I felt any sassiness, I never gave that person the time of day unless I was looking at them for fun time, short time only.
Okay. What do you... So, essentially, when I met you, you were single, obviously, and you weren't trying to date. How were you intent on spending the rest of your life? Like, were you going to be this forever bachelor, like, bang and go type guy? Like, is that how you were going to live out the rest of your life? Or were you eventually hoping that maybe after some healing you'd be able to settle down?
I'm sorry to laugh, but being totally hot, honest, open, and transparent, mm-hmm. The way you framed the first part of that was exactly my thoughts. I'm like, you know what? I can build myself up, get to a point to where, hey, if somebody needs some tuition books paid for, I got that, as long as, I get what I'm going to need from them. And I was content on building my life solo, getting what I needed on a temporary basis, very transactional. I'm just going to say that, very transactional. and I was going to be good with that lifestyle, and it worked for me.
So I'm going to read 2 comments. One comment is from your uncle. He said, all women got sass, nephew. And then Super C said, need to make YouTube great again. Google watered down and weak cry over words.
Weak.
I think. That's weak.
Google watered down a week. Cry over word. Oh, okay, yeah. It's something that both him and I always talk about as well. He's on a Google strike because of what Google did to him. Like, he understands. He has to understand that we can't say certain words, otherwise Google will suppress us. So that's why we say different words.
Yeah, or not say it at all and completely allude to the situation, but don't say the word.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, your uncle said all women got sass.
All women got. I don't think so, Unc. I say a majority do. I wouldn't say all, because prior to you, I ran into somebody who she was a very meek person. Hey, if you're watching, what up? A very meek person, and she knew that she was a meek person, and her meekness is what won me over. I've said this. So this is if she watches, this is the first time that she would have heard this from me. We weren't attracted to each other, but there were qualities that she saw in me that she liked, and her meekness I really liked in her. So we were like, hey, let's have an arrangement between us. We knew it wasn't going to be anything serious because of what she does for a living, where she's at, and a lot of different things. And she wasn't really looking for anything serious, but she needed something fulfilled that she wasn't getting, and she fulfilled something that, I was like, ooh, this is cool to be around. So that's what worked for us, and a lot of that stemmed from I had been around too much sass. And I'm like, yeah, there has to be people out there that sassy to be sassy is just not fun for me. It's not attractive to me. And I'm a person that likes to joke around and things like that. But it's like you have to know when to hold them and when to fold them, so to speak. So, yeah.
Okay. For all intents and purposes, I am not your type. The type that you talked about,
Nah.
I am not your type. I don't want to say how did I win you over, but how did you get to a point where you're like, this is someone I can see myself being with?
Okay. Well, first of all, looks, boom. Let's just say that, all right?
Hold up. Wait.
Going past that, I asked myself, if I invest time here, if I invest energy here,
Mm-hmm.
if I invest attention here, if I invest money over here, am I going to regret it? And it was one of those things that I said, okay, from what I'm looking at now, I've gotten back certain things. The investment in time has not just been an energy drainer, right? The investment in attention has been given back to me, actually kind of twice. I think you give me more attention than I give you, but hey, whatever. All right. And I didn't feel as though I was losing a lot of energy just being with you. And I had gotten that being out on the dating marketplace before I would say that I was in a good place. And after I got to a good place in myself, I would get with people, and more of that just felt like I was giving away a lot more than what I was given. And in most of those situations, when I saw that, I ended it. Only in 1 or 2 situations where it wasn't like that. But the reason why things didn't go further with them is because I still didn't get that click. I don't know how to describe it, but with you, I got this click of, she ain't here to just be a drain on me. And everybody else was. So if I'm being honest, That's where my thought went with that. It wasn't, oh, love or anything like that. It was, Michelle's not a drain to be around. I think I can do this longer than just a year, longer than our contract
Longer
that
than
we
our
originally
contract,
had.
yeah.
So, and then, so you being authentic, you not just being a vampire, won me over. I started to become more aware, more hyper aware of how much a lot of women were vampires of me, whether it was intentional or not. And I got way better about spotting it being intentional. But even just the unintentional being a vampire, I'm just drained. And when I'm with you, I'm not drained. I don't get drained. So yeah.
Stop playing.
You cracked first, and I tried to hold it. I'm sorry.
Inside joke.
Inside joke, but yes. What else?
So, no, because I don't know if you saw the time, but like time crept up on us. But I will say this. What advice do you have for that guy out there who's like you know, or maybe so that guy who just got out of a divorce and he's just thinking, let me beat the town up and, you know, do whatever. Or for that guy who has been single for a really long time and has been excluding women left and right for reasons. What advice do you have to give to that man?
That's a good question as well. I think it's tough because if you're on YouTube, if you're on social media in general, right, you're hearing a lot more men talk about, oh, I'm going monk, or I'm a man that's going their own way, aka MGTOW, or I'm living life as a free agent, right? And I fall into the free agent lifestyle category. I say I live like a free agent. That's a whole different thing. We'll definitely get into that. The advice that I would have for guys out there is if you're coming out of something that's bad, right, or something that just didn't work out and it drained a lot from you, that sucks.
Yeah.
All right. If you're under the age of 50, if you just take yourself off the market for a while, don't jump into anything. If you take yourself off the market for a while, let a lot of that suck that's going to happen, right? For some men out there, Michelle, they are constantly back in the courts post-divorce because of assets or children, right? I came out of a divorce with a kid, and I am so thankful that that wasn't a sticking point for my divorce. Because most men that come out of those relationships with kids, man, they're fighting their the kid's mom left and right in courts, spending a lot more time and resources just to either spend time with their kids, have something that is deemed equitable, and they're spending their kids' potential future resources in family court balance, and that is what causes, I'd say, 80% of the men out there that when they're dealing with that, they're like, man, I don't want to have to deal with this ever again at all. So they then make choices where, when you simplify it, it's simply, hey, my picking women were the cause of why I am where I am. So if I just don't deal with certain women or do it on a pure transactional basis, which that can still screw you, because unless you got something on paper, something on a camera recorded somewhere, you can start to hear people change the story 20 years down the line, aka saying, oh, well, it wasn't consensual, when you might have handed that person $450 for some consensual things, just for them to change the story 10 years down the line when either they,
But see, I have
when
a
they
thought.
got
I have a thought
saved
on that.
or
Yeah,
whatever.
but I have a comment on that. My thing with that is stop going after the same woman. Like, if this were a woman doing it, we would say stop going after the same guy. You keep running into the same issue, stop going after the same guy. But I lovingly, respectfully, I don't feel like we say that to men. And I'm not saying change your type. I'm saying if you keep noticing the same exact issue, that is literally the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. So change what you're doing. If you're noticing that you keep
That's
going
fair.
after these hood rats and these hood rats keep screwing you over, why you keep going after hood rats?
That's fair.
Like, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying go inside the church house, because sometimes hood rats be going inside the church house to be finding a man. So I'm not saying that that's going to completely erase all of your issues, but what I'm saying is if that is the issue that you keep seeing, then steer away from that type of person.
Yes. So my advice to help get a man there, because that you understand what works for you when you take yourself off the market and build value. Build yourself up. Build value to where you then get what you can say is leverage and options. And then you use those leverage and options to make it work out for you. So Patrick Stadden over on Facebook said most men date in their environment. And that's the other thing.
Yeah.
Date outside your environment. I do not have a type that I exclusively say. Like, I don't say, oh, I only date black women. Or, hey, I only date people that's within, walking distance or whatever. I have a car. I got a car. But, like, I wouldn't just date within my city. When I was dating after my divorce, I was Baltimore, D.C., furthest might have been Harrisburg, which is about, an hour and a half from where I live.
Probably, yeah.
So I was interested more in, hey, what's out there? Because the world is huge. Or get your passport. The Passport Bros was a whole movement in 2023. And it's funny because there's been news lately about how when you go to certain countries like Medellin, there's been an uptick or an increase in U.S. men getting robbed, drugged, and killed here lately. And part of it is I think the spotlight on how parabolic the hashtag Passport Bros went.
Yeah.
But I'm a huge proponent of travel and see the world. For me, I think that I have a better understanding than most. I'm not going to say all and whatever, I'm all enlightened or anything like that. But I've been to several other countries. I've seen how men and women and humans interact in these other countries and cultures and just the customs and things like that. So it gives me a better perspective on what I would like and what I want. In my marriage, where I was married for 14 years, I tried to make that work. When I came out of that, literally because I've traveled and been around the world, for me, sky's the limit, right? And I wasn't going to say, oh, well, I'm just going to be out here, and if I were to get with somebody, it's got to be of a certain race, culture, or anything like that. I had values and things that I started to hold higher for me. And I didn't care about values because right after my divorce, I was like, I'm finna be in these streets. I gave a damn about what values you had then. It was just more about who about it and what's up. But as I started to then go, all right, I care more about myself. I care more about who I'm giving money, energy, attention, and time to. Shout out to Coach Greg Adams. When I started being hyper aware of me, and then I then started to eliminate a lot of those energy vampires, and being outside of my environment is what definitely helped that.
And see, I'll piggyback on what you and Pat said. Here's the thing. As with any change that you make in your life, 90% of it is mental. 90% of change starts in your mind before like the rest of your body can get on board with what you're doing. You want to lose weight, you want to change your eating habits, it starts in your mind. You have to mentally prepare yourself for that. And respectfully, and I'm saying this as somebody who's from Baltimore, and the fact that I know Pat is from Baltimore, like, if that's all you're surrounded with and you keep seeing the same thing day in and day out, and we know that most men will date in their environment, you have to mentally free yourself from that before you're able to physically free yourself. So before you can get a guy who's going to get a passport, because I know several guys who didn't get a passport or step outside of this country until they were in their 30s after heartbreak, and it had nothing to do with passport pros, but they just didn't get a passport and step outside of this country until then. Or the only time they stepped outside of this country was to go to and technically that's not stepping outside the country, but to go to a U.S. territory. In order for you to get there, you have to mentally get there first. You have to be mentally willing to step outside of your box to be able to get change. Change is never going to happen where you are. You want something different, you have to become, you have to go to, you have to want something different. And that starts in your mind first. And until people are able to see that, until people are willing to see that, they're going to continue to yield the same results that they've always had. So it's the mental thing. So I'm not a guy. I don't want to give advice to guys. But what I will say is that to a woman listening, if you want to step away from like those guys that you were dating, you want to find prosperity in whomever you're dating, whatever type of relationship you're in, you have to be willing to change your mindset. You have to be willing to step outside of your comfort zone. One thing that I always say is that there's nothing that's good that's going to happen in your comfort zone. Nothing. No. Change is never going to occur in your comfort zone. You have to step out of it. For me, I posted something earlier this week. Today's Monday, probably like Saturday or something. And it was a picture of the two of us. And what I said was advice to single ladies that you need to decrease your restrictions, maintain your standards, and increase your faith. And what I meant by decrease your restrictions is when you say, oh, I'm not dating X, Y, and Z, and it's not because like, oh, I'm not dating the jailbird. Like that's something totally different. But when you have like all of these, I'm not going to date X, Y, and Z, you are limiting yourself. You're setting all of these restrictions. And unless it's for a good and legitimate reason, then you don't know the blessings that you're missing out on. You don't know the type of God, the type of man that God has prepared for you, but you out here missing it because you like, no, well, I'm not going to do that. Like, I think back to the fact that this time 2 years ago, I flat out said I did not want to date someone who had been married or had a child. And if I had held to that, I would not be where I am now. I literally, like physically, I would not be where I am right now. You have to decrease your restrictions. You have to be willing to come outside of your comfort zone and to do things differently.
Hey, 100%. And Michelle, don't take this the wrong way. But look, Shell's a tall gal. Free T said, "Can I call you Shell?" Yes, that's actually her nickname and things like, or one of the nicknames that I
you
guess
can call me Shell. It works.
Yeah. So don't take this the wrong way. I also said coming out of my marriage and things like that, because Cassie's about the same height as me. She's not short, but I'm like, you know what? Not gonna be taller than 5'2". Y'all, Michelle's taller than me. With locks, darker skin. I mean, if I were to go back in time and tell myself, hey, after you get divorced, you're going to come across somebody who is a minister, who is taller than you, who has locks, is a teacher, but she's a dope individual and you will want to be around her, I would have laughed in your face and said, you crazy. Not gonna happen. So, yeah, funny how life works.
Yeah, if you would have told me that I would have fallen in love with someone who is a father after the last time that I dated someone with a child, if you would have told me that, would not have believed it.
Yeah.
Someone who had been married for 14 years, because I had sworn up and down. I was like, nope, I am going to be my husband's first and only wife. Like, that's it. That is legitimately what I said. Yeah. I feel like I even blogged about it. Like, I was like, no, I'm going to be.
You did.
I'm going to be my husband's first and only wife. Like, that's just it. Love works.
So y'all, that's our time for today. We
didn't
are
even talk about the other stuff, like the
Ooh.
events of today, the news posting and everything that you shared. Do you want to?
let's not, because
Okay.
that's a
That's a different-
whole downer.
Okay.
There was some interesting news that happened in both my family as well as someone who I don't directly know, but it's both downers.
Yeah.
We'll just say this. You never know what's going on in somebody's life, all right? So as we start 2024, if you notice anything off about anybody that you know, that is in your circle, that you care about, whatever, talk to them, all right? Don't be afraid to ask hard questions or say things that, you may not be comfortable with, because you just never know what's going on with somebody. We'll leave it there. It's not that I don't want to talk about it, but
No, it's fine.
Yeah.
I will also say my social media stuff is very much present. You can click on the link in our bios and our description to be able to get more. If you need someone to talk to, if you need someone to pray with, I am not a licensed therapist. What I am is someone who loves helping people. I am a licensed minister, but I am also someone who loves to help people. So please don't hesitate to reach out. I'd rather have a conversation with you and try to help you in your situation than to hear about it in a devastating way.
Hey, shout out to the chat. Somebody said, hey, Cat Williams' interview was 3 hours long. Why y'all got it in y'all?
Look, you're starting stuff.
I do have an obligation after here.
Do you?
Yes.
Do you? We can bypass. I'm saying
I try to keep my obligations.
We got 3 hours.
I try to
we
keep
got 3
my
hours.
And you got work tomorrow.
Do I?
Yes.
Do I?
Enriching.
We got day 3 of semester 2. Them kids. Look, I'm gonna be honest. I don't know how many of them are gonna show up tomorrow, because I done went over my syllabus with them today, and they found out today.
You done ran them off already?
Well, no. So I asked my students at the start of every semester. I'm like, so what y'all hear about me? And normally I always get we heard that you don't accept late work. None of them said that. So today was like their first time finding out that I don't accept late work. So I'll be surprised if they come back tomorrow.
Hey, set the standard on these little kids.
They're like, what you mean you don't accept late work? Would your boss accept late work?
Thank you. Set the standard. That's the thing. In relationships, people don't set standards, right? So Michelle, look at me.
Habakkuk says to write the vision. Make it plain. All right? That's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm telling you.
Yes.
I ain't finna take no late work.
Look at me.
Yes, baby.
Set the standard. When we talk about things in our relationship and what we're looking for, we're talking about things that we will accept and things that we won't accept. Do not be afraid to tell me what your standard is. It's up to me to decide if I'm able to live up to those standards or not, and vice versa. I am going to tell you what my standard is. If you don't think you can live up to those standards, be gone.
What's your standard?
We'll talk about it later.
Oh, man.
The biggest one?
Yeah.
No disrespect. Plain and simple. 0. You know how you say you don't tolerate late work or you don't accept late work? That's how I don't accept disrespect. I can tell you right now, very publicly, to your face, that I will never disrespect you intentionally. The things that I say may happen unintentionally. Would be like the one live stream we had where you heard me say something that you were like, well, I didn't hear that before we went live. You felt like what happened or what occurred was disrespectful. There was no intentionality behind that. And I understand why you felt that way, because of what I did. And we've talked about that, and I have apologized about that. I did apologize about that, right? I just have to be sure. So yeah, that's part of my standard, is I don't accept disrespect at all. And we've talked about this, so you hearing this today is not a surprise to you.
No, it's not. I just like making facial expressions.
Bet. All right, look, y'all.
Freezy, yes, that is exactly where he's going at 9 o'clock.
Yep. She said, King, we going over to Precious's after this. Yep. I'll also be streaming it on mine as well. I'll say watch it on mine versus Precious's so I can get them watch hours. But I appreciate you coming over there as well. Look, that was our live stream for today. Next week is the last format of our current thumbnails.
We switching it up.
Because we're switching up the game. Do you remember what next week's topic is? Because I don't.
Nope.
All right. So talk real quick while I look for that, and then I'll close us out.
So we just want to thank you all so much for popping in. For those who watched on our YouTube channel, for those who watched on our Facebook, or for those who caught us on Perry Production, thank you so much. Thank you for joining in the comments. Again, that's one of the beautiful things of us being live. We're able to hear immediately from everyone who is watching, and we're able to comment and engage with y'all, and we love it. You got two people who love to talk. Like, I'm a teacher, I talk for a living, and because I'm a teacher, I'm typically used to no one talking back to me, but this is fun when y'all can talk back. Like I told my kids today, I was like, if you talk back, I won't go as long. Apparently that's a lie here on live stream, because I will still go just as long. But no, we love engaging with you also. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you were catching this on the replay, okay, but we love you too. Don't you worry about it. We still love you too. We thank you for your continued support, and we hope that you will share this with someone that you know who may be dating, someone who may be trying to like get out there and like explore the world, or even that highly successful couple, because we're still a new-ish couple.
Yes, I got you to say it.
Reluctantly. So and we still want to be able to sit and talk to people who have been in the game for a really, really long time and be able to take in wisdom. So one of the greatest things that my pastor ever said is, no matter your age, you should have a mentor and a mentee, someone who's older than you, someone who's younger than you. So we definitely would love to sit at a table and be able to have dialogue with someone with a couple who's been in this marriage game for a really, really long time, or in this dating game for a really, really long time. And we want to be able to sit with people who are just now beginning, or they're trying to begin. We want to talk to you all. So please, if you are watching this on the restream, thank you so much. Thank you for tuning in. And I know that you wanted to see our gorgeous faces, but no, thank you so much for popping in. And don't forget to share. Like, comment, and subscribe too. Sorry.
There's one last comment that I want to highlight here. Super C said, no logical guy will want to deal with that sassy nonsense either. 100%. Like, the only guy that deals with nonsense is a guy that doesn't have options, or a guy that feels as though he's stuck.
And see, that breaks my heart too, when people think they don't have options. Like, that's a whole nother episode. You have options. You just need to get out of your environment, out of your comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
Because what one person doesn't appreciate, someone else will.
Bingo. I think, because I don't have it, I think it's on that phone.
Yeah.
I believe next week's episode is
I guess I could find
being unequally yoked. I think we talked about it.
I think we did talk about it.
But I don't know if that's what next week's episode is.
All my stuff. Well, let me go to Canva, because that's where we create everything.
If not that one, that's coming up. Dating while unequally yoked.
No, next week is I don't ask enough questions.
Ooh. That could be dangerous. All right.
I'll ask enough questions.
So that's next week's. And then the one after that is going to be dating while unequally yoked.
And that's going to be in our new format, because, y'all, that will be February. Like I told y'all, once the 10th of a month comes, the month is over. And look at me. Right.
I'm going to need you to do one thing before we close this show.
What's that, baby?
Reach down there and hand me my crown so I can kiss you with my crown on. All right, y'all. This has been another episode.
Oh, I'm so glad I'm going to the gym now. This thing is heavy.
Of the King and Me Show. As Michelle said, we are live every Monday, 7 p.m. U.S. Eastern, on Facebook, YouTube, and X. All right? If you don't catch the live, catch the replay. Follow us on TikTok as well, as we post clips of our live streams across all of our social medias, to include Instagram as well. So that's it. I think I see one more comment before I close this out. Super C said, Facebook be crying too. As Smith knows, I don't care. And I still be saying whatever over there too. Yeah, he don't say nothing. Or he don't care about nothing. He gonna say what's on his mind.
Thank you, Free T. We appreciate you, sis.
All right, y'all. We out.
Bye.
Peace. Mwah. I hope the mic caught all of that.
Everything. All the juices and everything. Bye,
See y'all.
y'all.